This
So,
Here we go. Here comes our intro. We're live, dudes.
all right. Are we going to do this like competently for once in our lives? I'm
It's a low
really,
bar.
it's a really powerful idea still. Um,
Say something, Nathan.
I'm saying something. I'm talking.
Turn your mic up, dude.
I'm turning my mic is all the way up. How's
There
that?
you go.
That's good.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Battle Hymnal here on an early edition after your Kentucky game. We are the video streaming product with our sister product, Chapel Bell Curve, which is our audio product. And we are here to talk about UGA versus UK. I think, we all have a lot of hot takes. Hopefully, we've cooled off in the last 4 hours a little bit. Things were getting pretty chippy there on the Discord. Oh, maybe we haven't cooled off. Things have been pretty chippy on the Shuffle Bell Curve Discord today. We wanted to come out a little bit early just because we had time to today, and we wanted to sort of break down a little tape and just get ourselves in the right frame of mind for a game that will probably decide the SEC East in Georgia versus Florida. So I am Nathan Lawrence, part founder and proprietor of Chapel Bell Curve, everyone's favorite podcast about UJ stats. I'm joined by my co-hosts here today, Graham Coffey, who is the, we'll say, illustrious, infamous writer over at Dawgs. Say hello, Graham.
Hello, Graham.
Yeah, and also we were joined today back from his one episode hiatus by Josh Hancher of Dog Stats fame over on Twitter, who is our producer extraordinaire, all things technical man, and general FTMF aficionado. Say hello, Josh.
Hello. And also we should mention that I do the stats blog on bulldogillustrated.com.
Yes.
So those guys have been good to me and have given me a good audience. And so check me out. Usually I do an article Monday or Tuesday and then on Fridays before the games. So
yeah, all right. Absolutely.
Let's get started today.
Let's do 3 plays. I think the first play we're going to do here, if you want to just talk us through this, is the 4th and 1 TD there. Graham, show us this play. What does this play tell us? What are we doing?
So 4th and 1, third quarter, opening drive of the second half. Georgia had been the worst team in the NCAA in 4th and 1 situations going back to last season, 1 for our last 8. So it was good to see not just a conversion, but an explosive play for a touchdown. This is what happens when you have some form of a running threat at quarterback. Bennett had kept it on the zone read a few times, especially in short yardage, and you see the Kentucky linebacker there does not fill the hole because he is trying to make sure that Bennett doesn't have the ball. So just that little split second is the difference between maybe a turnover and a touchdown.
Speaking of turnovers, after Georgia had driven down the field, we're again, putting with a chance to score a touchdown and take control of the game. And again, a batted ball comes up, and Bennett again turns the ball over in the red zone. I think that was our 3rd or 4th. Dwan had a red zone turnover. We certainly had the red zone turnover in the Alabama game, which cost us all, possibly the game, arguably. This one certainly stymied our momentum and gave life to the Kentucky defense. And if you look at this play, I don't really do the exit nose, but you can see right here. He's got the running back in the flat, or no, is that Burton? Right? He's right here ready for this play. And instead of stepping up into this clean pocket, he just tries to throw it over the lineman, who just does what he's supposed to do, puts his hands up, knocks the ball up. If he steps up in there, which is in a good clean pocket, and he's got an easy catch, I don't know if it goes for a touchdown, but certainly it's a good, clean, easy catch. But instead, he tries to throw it over the lineman, a batted ball, and a turnover.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing that we've talked about a lot with Stetson. The height's not the problem, right?
Correct.
It's the arm strength is not the problem. It's decision making like this. When you have a clean pocket, you step up into the pocket, and that was actually a pretty effective job from Jamari Sawyer. But yeah, let's talk about another one. This is in the 3rd quarter, and it's actually kind of the same thing almost happens here. We have just a straight up wide receiver screen. And you can see there's a crashing defensive end and this goes for a first down. But I think it's like generally the same problem, right? I mean, we're a step or two away from that being at the best a batted ball with 2 blue jerseys in the area, right? And it's like, yeah, I get it. That play worked. And the plays like that, sometimes it is like a bang bang play where it's just like pretty it's pretty quick, but it's clear. And to me, this shows that defenses have been trained that they just need to get their hands up against Stetson, right? That guy was not going for the quarterback. He was trying to take away the wide receiver screen. And he was unblocked because of the screen, and he saw it, and he was just trying to crash down on it. We're going to talk a lot about the offense, but I think to me, the big takeaway from this game is like, no matter who plays, if Georgia plays like this at quarterback against Florida, we're not going to win. But it wasn't all bad. There were some good things. Graham, do you want us to like talk about the room game? Because there were some good things.
Let's look at clip 4 with James Cook on the first drive of the game. The first drive of the game was a thing of beauty. I think we had 18 plays, all runs down the field.
There's a lot of variety too.
Yeah. So right here, this is probably the best run I've seen James Cook make since he's been at Georgia. He makes the first guy miss. He makes the second guy miss. But the thing that I got really excited about is big 69 there. Is that Sawyer? Yeah, Jamari Sawyer coming out on the edge and doing a very nice job getting to that. I believe that's either a safety. I think that's their safety. Yeah, so, I mean, he kind of clears that out, and it's the difference between 7 yards and 12 yards. But we're seeing a lot of these big linemen getting down the field compared to what we saw last year under Coley. If we look at clip 6 as well, we're going to see not as dramatic, but like look at the push we get on the offensive line here, and just we block down the line. I mean, by the time Milton hits the hole, we've pushed the Kentucky D line about 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, and we just leaned on them. I mean, all day, but really exceptionally well on that first drive. It's also a great block by Trey McKitty too. I mean, for a guy that's a good receiving tight end, and to get that kind of production out of him is great. What do you see there?
Well, this is just a good example of why, even with the snap problems, that Trey Hill is still the center. I mean, just absolutely cleans his guy up in front of him, like shifts a guy, and then maybe a little bit of a hold, but just like all day long he was. I noticed in particular Trey Hill had a pretty good day getting up to the second level. I think the offensive line as a whole. I mean, we could talk about what Kirby said in the post game later. We should go on to our next clip, but I think the truth to what Kirby said was that there were some good things happening. The offensive line looked good, but just the way modern offenses run, if you don't have somebody pulling the trigger that you trust, this is what's going to happen.
We lost in all this is that we didn't put up points on the board, and that's the goal. I mean, I've been preaching it. We've got to put points on the board, but and we made mistakes that are continuing to haunt us, and that's the frustrating part for a lot of fans, myself included. But we did, just pulled up my Excel spreadsheet here, and we had a 57% success rate running the ball. We 5.3 yards per play, and a decent EPA of 0.132. So it was a good day running the ball. I mean, and we committed to it. We didn't throw. I think it was 14 passes or something. He was 9 of 14 passing the ball.
9 of 13.
Yeah. So it's frustrating that that was a game plan to run the ball, and we did that, but we didn't execute the other part of the offense. Sorry. What's the next clip we're doing?
Yeah. Let's look at clip 15, right? And the point I want to make here is. I think this is the agony and ecstasy of Stetson Bennett in one play. This is a very good read on the zone read. It really is. I mean, he and I'm not sure if this might be designed. Hold on, I need to watch this again. So you get a motion out to the play side from Cook, and then I think he's actually reading 19 there. But I mean, it's a good read. He's very shifty. He gets outside. He gets a clear first down. But it's like this is the problem, man. It's not how tall he is. It's like if you are running to the outside to the yard or to the to the outline, you got to get that ball over, and at the very least you got to cover up. And he just runs. It's like this is my core existential sort of question for Stetson Bennett as starting quarterback at UGA. If you were a liability in the passing game, we could probably still win if you are just steady. But if you're also a liability when running, what is the advantage of having you starting?
I mean, I tweeted that out, and Kirby I can't remember. I wish I had remembered who it was that asked the question. It may have been Dasher. in the midweek press conference. He said, "What's Stetson been working on?" He said, "Well, he's been working on, all the things you expect him to work on." He said, but Kirby pointed out covering the ball, carrying it with two hands, holding it two hands in the pocket. And, he got away with a fumble in the Alabama game, and he got away with a fumble here. So, I tweeted it out. It's like, if he's going to turn the ball over in the red zone, he's going to throw interceptions. And if he is a threat running the ball, but he fumbles on a decent, percentage of plays, again, just what you're saying. What are we doing?
Well, and then I don't have this play pulled up, but like we had a 3rd and 7 at the end of the game. And we'd been saying all week, throw to the open man on the check down, throw to the open man on the check down. He throws the check down into triple coverage. That's the point, right? It doesn't, like, if you don't have to have a rocket arm and be 6'8", like you don't.
Graham, what were you going to say?
No, I would say, I mean, like, why is Stetson Bennett fighting for extra yardage, especially in that situation when you've already gotten the first down? It's like, he made that one hero play against Tennessee in the 4th quarter where he, spun out of that tackle and crawled over 2 guys for a first down. And ever since then, it's like he does dumb shit at the end of runs. It's just cover the ball up, get down, protect it. And I mean, it's, what we can talk about. Let's get through the plays and we can kind of like get deeper into the whole Stetson Bennett thing. But I also think that like some of the things that we're frustrated about and pinning on Stetson Bennett belong to Kirby Smart.
Yeah. All right. What's the next play?
All right, so let's look at some passes. So clip 22, probably our best play of the day.
This is I actually stepped away from the TV when this came up, but so I missed it. But when I saw it on replay, I was like, oh, this is Coley versus Coffey.
Beautiful play design. It's a play action to Cook, and he slips out. And I mean, there's nobody around, and even the wheel route, which is kind of probably the second option there, is open. SEC StatCat put up a great video on Twitter at halftime. And basically this is like ripped straight out of the Sarkisian Alabama playbook. Not saying it wasn't in Monken's playbook already, because Monken has a great sophisticated playbook as well. But this is the type of creative action, especially like on a day where Georgia's pounding the rock and running it over and over and over and running the ball, I think maybe 3 or even 4-1, probably 3-1 to the number of times we passed it. Like, this is what you want right here. And it's kind of reminiscent in some ways of the Lawrence Cager touchdown against Florida last year, except for it's a running back instead of a wide receiver. But just the way that play design worked and the way the action of the wide receivers took all those zone defenders to the right side of the field and left the left boundary open. It's beautifully designed. And I mean, to Stetson Bennett's credit, because we've given him a really hard time, as have a lot of people, it was a great play fake, and he delivered that ball in stride. Like there was not a situation where Cook got overthrown or had to wait on it, but it was just exciting to see that, I thought.
Oh, it was awesome. And then, that was when we were running the hurry up offense a little bit. We had taken the ball into the scoring opportunity and we didn't do anything with it.
That's what's so completely infuriating about talking about this team right now is that if you, and this was something that was on Reddit, and it's on Reddit, and I've been on Reddit, and people on Reddit are stupid, including me. This is not a Todd Monken thing.
No.
Schematically, the plays are there. They are there. And I mean, let's look at let's look at our next play, because I think this is a good example. Graham, I know you wanted to talk about this. Is the catch to Big Peter. Yeah, to Darnell Washington. I mean, this is let's see, what's the clip number there?
27.
27.
Yeah. And so this is first play coming out. Or no, it's not the first play. But we got a first down, and it's 1st and 10, first drive of the second half. And it's a beautiful play action fake, and sells it pretty well. But he's got a guy bearing down on him, and like that's a beautiful touch pass. And we saw, like, again, to his credit, because against Alabama we saw a lot of balls thrown to the boundary that were kind of just like rifled in there and didn't really have that good like arc on them. And I don't know if he put that arc on it because he was getting hit and he sort of had to throw it falling away, but like either way, no matter how it went, it was
all right.
great.
Can I say one thing here? As that was an awesome play, but look at that pocket if he steps up. And this play it was a good play, but are the coaches going to tell him to maybe move into the pocket a little bit and then possibly, it's hard to complain about a play that goes for that yards, but that was
roll that back to the start of the snap.
Okay. There we go.
So I'm just curious. I want to see kind of, because he gets the fake off. Yeah, honestly, I think if he steps up, he gets sacked right there.
Well, you see this guy breaking, yeah, maybe so. There's one guy that beats him, and there's other guys making blocks. But it's an awesome play. He made the play, and there's nothing wrong. I'd rather him certainly put that ball up and not take the sack than. But I'm just throwing stuff out there, because I think we've done a good job in pass pro. I think we've done a good job run blocking, and I think just like what you said, the plays are there. The offensive. There's parts of the offense that are executing very, very well. And there's parts.
I think looking at our tight end room right now, John Fitzpatrick probably starts at most SEC schools, and he's our third string guy. McKitty has been great. Darnell Washington is, I think, currently our highest graded run blocker according to PFF, and that includes all of our offensive linemen. He's been a monster in the run game, and he has the ability to do that. But that's what's so tantalizing and frustrating about this offense is you've got weapons like that, and whether Stetson Bennett's at quarterback or not, we threw the ball 13 times, So it's how many flashes of brilliance are you going to get from Darnell Washington in a game when we drop back to pass 13 times?
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys want to who wants to go first here? Because I think Graham, you probably have the most scathing run at things here, or you have some things to say.
I have a lot of thoughts. The first one is that I think so. I'm frustrated with a couple things. The first is that me as a fan, right? And I want to be really clear that what I'm saying here is from a fan lens. I wanted to see us come out. And I didn't want us to throw the ball 40 times against Kentucky, but maybe a 24 pass attempt kind of day, get Stetson and the receivers some work, get things flowing, and inspire hope going into the Florida game. Right? That's what we all wanted, was to feel better coming into this week against Florida than we felt for the last 2 weeks with that sour taste against Alabama. And Georgia just ran the ball all day. But I think the thing that frustrates me a lot is there's a lot of dumb people on the internet, as you've already alluded to. Me too.
I can hear you. I can hear you. It's kind of awkward when you talk about me like that.
No, I'm not saying.
I'm just joking.
But I think there's all these people that are in my mentions and stuff, Kirby is mismanaging our quarterback room and all this shit. And it's I don't sit in practice, but if JT Daniels was healthy, he'd be playing. And by all accounts, Carson Beck isn't ready. Juwan Mathis, I don't know what's going on there, but it's I still think that we're stuck in the situation that we have. And it's we have a 5-star that's not healthy. And we had a stud quarterback in Jamie Newman that chose to opt out. And he took all the first team reps throughout the summer in fall practice, for most of fall practice. So it's frustrating, but I also think there's a lot of overreaction going on from people of, let's tear down Smart, or then let's tear down Stetson Bennett. And it's Stetson Bennett is making some bad decisions, but it's also I'm pulling for the dude. I think we're all pulling for him, right? We want him to do well. And the reality is just there's not a better fucking option right now. And this is what we're stuck with. And it sucks because this is not going to be a national championship team in all likelihood, unless something changes dramatically. But this is where we are. And I also want to kind of keep the perspective of, I didn't think we would have football at all back in June and July. So at least we're having games to watch, and at least we're getting to talk about some Georgia football, even if it's frustrating at times. We have this distraction, and that's really great. But Yeah, man. I mean, Kirby Smart in his press conference, when asked about why we didn't throw the ball more, and like his passing game, it's like, oh, well, the passing game is great, and I see it every day in practice, and I hope we get to show it in a game sometime. First of all, like, that is your decision whether or not we get to show it in a game. Second of all, there is some truth to the fact that like Kentucky actually respected Stetson Bennett's arm today and gave us some running lanes. Like, they didn't load up the box with 10 defenders or anything like that. But you've got all of this talent. Even I know Pickens is out, but it's like you've got great wide receiver talent. And we threw the ball 13 times, and 4 of those were to our running back, James Cook. So, I mean, we threw 9 passes at wide receivers today, five receptions for the whole wide receiver and tight end core on the day. And it's just, are we getting better, right? It's like, okay, we played really well on the O-line and we ran the ball today, but it's like, are we preparing for a potential rematch against Alabama? Or are we even comfortable now with the idea of beating Florida? Like, I don't know. I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts, but it's just.
My thought is we can't play Alabama every week. And I think the game plan today was, it was a 65-35 run to pass game. And we executed the run game really well, and we should have put up 24 to 28 points. We turned the ball over, and we gave up long drives too. I think Kirby's probably going to talk a lot about this week about some of these long drives that we gave up. Coming out of the Auburn game, that first drive out of the halftime, Auburn went on a 6 or 7 minute drive, and he was frustrated with that again. And Kentucky had 2 really long drives, I think, in the second quarter. So yeah. I think he's going to want to see improvement there, and I'm sure he's going to probably try to deflect some of the pressure away from his offensive unit to the defensive unit, saying that they can improve as well. But we can't, like I said, going back to my point, we can't play Alabama every week. We were playing Kentucky this week, which has got a pretty good defense. We needed to run the ball, and we got out of there with a win. Everything again is still in front of us. I think if that team that execution today on offense is not going to beat Florida, in my opinion. Certainly not going to beat Alabama, and might have trouble against a Mississippi State that might get hot again, or Missouri that's a really good team. So I think it's so funny. I think our roles are flipped. I was so pissed off coming out of the Alabama game, and you were trying to calm the nation, Dog Nation, Graham, and now you're feeling like I was out of the Alabama game, and I'm saying, hey, we executed the ball. We had 54% success rate. We got over 6 yards per play. If we don't turn the ball over, even if we turn the ball over one less time, where I think we can get better out. Who is that? Is that me?
Yeah.
That's not me. That's somebody's playback in the computer. All right, great. Nathan, go to it.
Well, first of all, there are rumors on Twitter that Jordan Davis broke his arm.
Shit.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's true, but Jesus. Or so if we lose Davis and Rochester, man, like it might not matter. Okay, so I have several thoughts. First is, like, you have to come into this situation. Just think about how Kirby's dealt with the media and the fans this year. I mean, Kirby's not stupid, and I don't think it makes sense to go into the conversation thinking Kirby's stupid. So, I mean, I think I don't have anything really like encouraging to say, so I apologize. But I think the situation just kind of is what it is, right? You lost your starting QB 18 days before the first game. Your backup QB is still hurt, presumably. Your third stringer apparently is just not ready, and you're playing your fourth string. I mean, what are you going to do? Right. So if you're Kirby, I'm frustrated because I feel like he's using a playbook that doesn't work. I think Ian, one of the guys that we have on Discord, was talking about this. It's like, this media relation playbook that Kirby's doing is like vintage Saban, but he doesn't have the rings that Saban has that have earned him, I think, enough goodwill to act like this. It's like, look, we all know that this is not a good situation. We all know that we're not getting good play from our quarterback. Just say it. And I think that just acting like, well, Stetson did some good things, he handed the ball off well. Well, shit, man. Like, Dwan Mathis can probably hand the ball off well. and at least you got a shot of doing something with him. And that's my frustration is, I'm not at the practices. I don't know. Maybe Stetson Bennett's our best bet. So my frustration is twofold. A, if that's the case, then we need to know that. If JT Daniels isn't ready to play, then we need to know that. And there's no look, he doesn't owe us anything. We're just fans. I get it. But at the end of the day, like, this stuff has a cumulative effect. I am not saying Kirby Smart is on a short leash or that he's on the hot seat, because he's not. But over a long enough period, bullshit like this will get you fired. And it's not now, and he's not on the hot seat, and that's not a problem. But it is a cumulative thing. You cannot treat people like they're idiots. And Kirby Smart is smart enough to do it, but not smart enough, I think, to figure out that he shouldn't be. Right? If JT Daniels isn't ready, just tell us that he's not ready. That's all it is. And at some point, the mind games with Stetson or whatever, Stetson said he didn't play well today. He knows. Shit, everybody knows. And I know you want to have faith in your quarterback, but who is this helping? Right now, I feel like that there's this weird, like, external, like, PR crisis going on with UGA football. And it's just, this is all unforced errors. It is a bad situation. It's been a weird year. If we go 8-2, fine. If we go 7-3, fine. It's 2020. We're lucky to have football. That's all great. But, like, you cannot mishandle the PR like this, man. Like, that is part of being a coach in 2020. And that is my biggest frustration. Like, look, maybe if JT can't take a hit on that knee, he shouldn't be playing, and that's fine. It really is. And if Jamie Newman, wants to do what's best for him, that's also fine. But, like, let's call a spade here. Like,
they're never going to do that. Did you hear Jeremy Pruitt after getting drilled by Alabama last week?
He said, no, I get.
I mean, it's like, this is what
I know they never do it, but they need to hold on. They need to figure it out, because this is not.
I think
it's not.
They got
no. What I'm saying is, this is not a coaching. Like, I don't know shit about football. I never played football. I'll admit that. I have three degrees in communications. This is what I know. I have an English degree and an upper level education degree. I am better at this than Kirby Smart, so he should shut up and listen. You cannot mishandle the PR of a $30 million program like this on a day in and day out basis. You cannot. It does matter. And it doesn't matter if this is what Saban's playbook is, because it's not gonna work. It just isn't PR wise. I'm telling you, look, Kirby wins Cincinnati. We're never talking about this again. It's probably not a big deal.
And somebody's getting a mailman tattooed on their face.
Right. Well, and I'm not even saying this year. Like, I think that at this point, if Jordan's out for the rest of the year, it really doesn't matter if he plays quarterback, because we're going to start giving up some points and we're going to lose some games. And that's fine. And that it's not fine, but it kind of is what it is. Like, whatever. Injuries happen. Like, but I just really think that, like, Kirby has not had the success to have this much slack with the media and the fans yet. And just to act like, oh, well, I'm going to do what I do on my principles all the time. That might work in football, but it does not work when it comes to program management. It just doesn't.
Well, I think I agree with what you're saying, first of all. So let me be clear on that. But, like, I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's like, yeah, he comes off as really petulant and kind of combative with the media. And I think, like, in the fan base, it creates this whole shitstorm, right? Because, like, I think there's people that listen to it and they actually believe that he believes what he's saying. And there's people that are like, oh my God, he actually thinks that Stetson had a great game, or, he actually thinks all this stuff. And the thing that I'm trying to remember, because I got frustrated watching that press conference as well, but I've listened to him tear down his entire team unit by unit after 30-point wins against good teams before. So I think he's trying to manage the psyche of this team, and he's trying to.
I think if you put him on truth serum, he wouldn't never do a press conference again. I don't think most coaches wouldn't, but he's there. He's there for his guys, and his guys hear what he's saying, and they don't want to be thrown under the bus. And I think Stetson's he's a pro. He's played a lot of football. He knows when he plays good and when he plays bad and stuff. And he gets up there and is a man about it. I'm not looking for anything from Coach press conference. I guess I just don't. They don't move the needle for me at all.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I'm looking for injury updates. I'm looking every now and then. You know,
Yeah,
but so I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not surprised. I guess by what he's saying.
And
so
this is probably like my English major bullshit, because you're right. Like, if he just came out there and was like Dabo and just was like, well, we're gonna do what we're gonna do, and it's just meaningless, that would be fine. But the tone of like effrontery from him is just infuriating, because it's like these like
you just want the
I would prefer if it was just fluff. Yeah, actually, I honestly would.
Aaron Murray's not walking through that door. David Green's
Yeah.
not walking through that door. I mean,
whatever. Like, I would prefer, like, the
Yeah.
tone. The tone is what drives me crazy, because it's like the things that we're pointing out, they are not like, oh, you've never played football, you don't understand football things. Like,
Right.
there is not an objective stat by which you can support that, like, Stetson Bennett is a QB that's going to win you a national championship. There just isn't.
Well,
and it's like, that's fine, but like, let's not pretend.
I see. After watching the Rick years, I always wanted a coach on the sideline with passion. So I get that out of Kirby. So he's got a long leash with me. So I don't really care what he says in front of a microphone. I love what he's doing on the sidelines. You know, I mean, like, he'll get onto a guy. He'll, you know, when they screw up, you know, he's getting onto his guys. He's coaching. Like I said, it doesn't move the needle for me at all. And compared to Mark Rick, just sort of kind of just, you know, I just wanted somebody to play and coach with the passion that I had as a fan. And I get that out of Kirby. So,
yeah. And I think ultimately, I mean, what are y'all thinking about the rest of the season?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's a one game season every week, because we just don't know. We're not 100% on where we wanted to be, and we're having to make do with what we want to be. So, you know, if we figure out a way to beat Florida, dude, FTMF, let's go. But
so, here's my little bullet points of it. Number one, positive side of this game, probably like the most dominant rushing performance we've seen from Georgia since maybe the 2017 season, right? I think so. And Mockin continues to be really creative. The thing that I'm going back to also is, like, we saw Georgia pass the ball well and move the ball through the air against Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama. Yes, I know, you know, things got ugly in the second half, but like, we moved the ball through the air very well in that game. So we know they can do it. They just didn't do it today, and I think we all wanted to see that. So it was frustrating from that perspective, but it is what it is. And I mean, Kirby sits there and he swears we're a good passing team to the media. So we're going to find out if that's true probably next week, because we're going to have to throw the ball to win that game. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of points left on the field. Like, it also felt like at the same time, this game was all garbage time. As soon as Georgia went up 14-3 on the first drive of the second half, like, the offense was shuttered. I think we threw maybe a couple more passes, and we just ran the ball up the middle the whole day. And it was like Kirby and Mark Stoops had a gentleman's agreement to just walk out of there on those terms. So we didn't learn very much, but like, I still think this is an extremely dominant defense, even if some guys are injured, which hopefully they aren't. But if anyone can afford injuries on defense, it's Georgia.
Yeah.
And I still think that, like, the talent on this offense, the sum of the parts is equal to good enough to beat Florida next week. And we'll get into all that in our preview episode. But I mean, I'm still cautiously optimistic, because if I know one thing about Kirby Smart, it's that he hates Florida with a passion and a fire of 1,000 suns, right? And yeah, he was on the field. He was a true freshman reserve defensive back when Spurrier ran that reverse pass to hang 50 in Sanford Stadium back in 95 or 96, whenever it was. And he's never forgotten it, and he never will. And Kirby Smart is Georgia's version of Steve Spurrier, and he will torment Florida for all of his living days. Even when he's in a fucking rest home, he's going to be sending Dan Mullen like a box of shit with a fake name on it just to like prank him. So I feel good that, like, maybe this was all kind of, not all, but like, I do think there's probably a level of Georgia just saying, let's get through this game. Let's not show anything we don't have to show.
Yeah.
And let's go down to Jacksonville next week and kick some ass. So hopefully
We booed our offense in the first half of the last time we played Kentucky and heading into the Florida week. So take us out, Nathan. I'm good.
I don't think I've ever been like at the 10,000 foot level lower on this team since Smart has taken over. Like, I think this is the most, like, I think that there are serious existential questions about the future of Kirby Smart's tenure if he can't figure out how to get out of his own way and let his offensive coordinator run his offense. And I don't think that has anything to do with Stetson Bennett, and it has nothing to do with this year even. I mean, we could lose 3 more games and that question wouldn't be answered. We could go to the national championship, that question wouldn't be answered. And that's you. I will leave. We can sign off in just a second. This is the last thing I'm going to say. You cannot win a national championship with 2012 Alabama's team. You can't.
Right.
And the thing is, right now we don't even have a Jacob Coker. We don't even have a Greg McElroy.
No.
So this is my biggest existential fear for UGA football. If Kirby Smart does not figure that out, he is not leaving here with the natty. It is what it is. And maybe Vach Vandergift is that. I don't know. Anyway, we got to get out of here before I talk myself into a hole.
Hold on. One more thing I do want to say, though, that like I'm struggling with a lot for all of us to ponder is it scares us to death when like Stetson Bennett drops back to pass. But it frustrates the shit out of us when he only passes 13 times in a game. And I don't know where like
I wasn't going to say it.
The happy middle point there is, but yeah, I also think that, you know,
if we win that game 28-3, which is totally in play, I think we're feeling totally different.
If we beat Florida all next week, we'll be on here feeling totally different.
Yeah, but I mean, something that I saw on Rivals, and I think Anthony Dasher wrote this earlier, is like, at this point, it seems like that your offense is just like run the ball, do play action to Darnell and Cook, just like run like the 1985 offense. And I think there's just an argument to be made with the stuff that you have at hand that is the right call. So if that's the right call, why in the living fuck is Stetson Bennett your quarterback? Because if all you're doing is deep shots, Dwan Mathis at least can run the ball,
and he's got a arm.
Yeah, I that's ultimately that's my question. And like I don't think Kirby owes me anything, but like he also is not immune from these questions if he's gonna mismanage the PR like this. That's ultimately anyway.
Hey, we still might see Daniels, dude. I mean, I feel like if we beat Florida and there's a game with Alabama looming out there, like if he gets healthy, they're gonna roll him out there, even if it's the second to last game of the regular season.
I sure as shit hope so, man. Anyway, this has been the Battle Hymnal. I'm sorry to leave us on a bummer note. No, I'm not. I tell the truth. Anyway, this has been the Battle Hymnal. My name is Nathan Lawrence at Nathan J. Lawrence. You can also find us at Chapel Bell Curve. That is Graham Coffey. You can find him at Dawgs Out West and at the Battle Hymnal. That is Josh Hancher. You can find him at dog_stats. If you like what you heard here today, give us a follow, give us a review on iTunes for the podcast. Let us know what you like. Yell at us on Twitter. If you want to yell at us on email, send us an email at chapelbellcurve@gmail.com. If you really loved what you heard, you should hit us up on our Patreon, patreon.com/Chapel Bell Curve. That'll get you access to a really awesome community, lots of live viewing, lots of discussions. We had a lot of talk about weather for whatever reason going on today. So we will catch you next week in Jacksonville. Well, I don't think any of us are going, but our hearts and souls will be in Jacksonville. But until then, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.